Okay, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. We only got a couple minutes here, and it'll be time for Dave Garner's Instant Replay. Now, first and foremost, let me make sure that I'm not missing out on some things I wanted to talk about today before we leave. I do have several pictures, but I'm going to bypass those. Let me make sure. Now, let me look through all of my websites here. I believe that by the end of the week, the FBI, we are investigating whether he is drinking. They will be, somebody will tell you, the left will come out and say he has There's a couple things you got to make sure of. You understand. Last Thursday was the auditions for impeachment. Okay, so what you watched last Thursday will be what happens if the Senate or the House of Representatives returns to the Democrats. So if the Democrats have control of either bodies of Congress there, that's what you watched last Thursday, is the preview of impeachment. So you better get out and get the Republicans over the finish line, or that's what you will have, period. Number two, Kavanaugh is not, if he goes down and he doesn't get voted in, they're going to go to a vote. And if he does not get voted in, there's no plan B. Trump will leave it open, okay? Because Trump is not going to, if the Senate goes to the Democrats, Trump's not going to send a moderate judge, which we need to thank him for that in advance. He won't send a judge that will get through. He will send judges that won't make it. Okay? So that way he won't bend. So you won't have a 9-8 court till after 2020. And you will see then if the new president or Donald Trump continues to send and who's in control. So you just better get out and pull the Republicans across the finish line, and the House and the Senate. And I'll make a commitment here. I'll step another step further. I will do what little I can after November 6th to help get the word out that Jim Jordan should be the Speaker of the House. Okay? Period. Not McCarthy. Okay? Jim Jordan. All right? And I have a position on that we'll do the next day. That being said, go get your congressmen, go get your senators back across the finish line, all right? Because you watched impeachment. Number two, at the end of the week, the Democrats started first thing Monday morning. The scope is not expansive. They're not going to be able to look into the amount of things they need to look into. The Democrats are looking for their reason to bring it back into committee. You got to remember, here's what happened Friday, okay? Jeff Flake voted to bring it out of committee with this amendment to it. But he also explained that's actually Mitch McConnell's decision, okay? So no matter what happens between now and Friday, it needs to go to the floor for a vote. Okay? Period. Mitch McConnell needs to make that happen. Democrats will insist it needs to go back into committee. They will try to force Grassley and them to put it back into committee so they can have another TV show and, discuss how new findings or new allegations or the amount he drinks, because they've already said perjury. They're coming up with perjury, okay? They're saying, hey, we asked the guy about his drinking problem, and, he said 2 beers and we found out he had 3. So they're looking at perjury, and they're going to swear, first of all, that he has to recuse himself. They've already saying any Democrat that ever takes anything before the Supreme Court, Kavanaugh should have to recuse himself. They're pushing that. They're going to try to impeach him if he goes on the bench, try to impeach the President of the United States, and they're going to try to force it back into a TV show again. They want it Kavanaugh 24/7 right now and take away the news that's out there of some of the great things happening in this country to try to squash that. But I tell you what, we have to get worked up. I've got a couple minutes there. Christine Blasey Ford's attorney, I told you that Michael Brownridge resigned from his law firm because partners objected to his decision to represent her. During Thursday's hearing, Rachel Mitchell, the Arizona prosecutor employed by the committee, pressed forward on the nature of the legal representation, possibly in the attempt to portray her as being guided by more powerful Democrats looking out for the interest of the party. Ford got Brownridge to say both the counsel are doing pro bono, okay? Well, the entire office he had working on this case, she has an entire legal team. He had to resign because they said, look, we're not taking an entire team for free. He is $12,000 an hour. Cats, I mean, $1,000 an hour. Cats, $1,000 an hour. 25 grand just bottom line dropped just in the two of them. And they got a lot more billable hours than that with their staff. So this woman is getting $1 million representation, and everybody else didn't sign on to give her $1 million. Folks, liberal Democrats are pouring cash. I told you earlier, and I think it gave me such heartburn I didn't finish through. They are pouring cash into, okay, they are pouring such cash into Georgia for Stacey Abrams, okay? It is absolutely sickening. So I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say it very often. Open your wallet and help the politicians. Oh, Lord. How do I say this? Open your wallet and help these politicians out because they're up against Tom Steyer out there, the liberal Tom Steyer, George Soros, okay? The Hollywood left. They are pouring the cash into Georgia for Stacey Abrams. I'm your host, BKP. Let me make sure I haven't forgotten anything. I'm going to go through all of my, quickly run through all of my, we also found out with Rachel Mitchell, who paid for the polygraph test. We're not going to find out anything new this week. And let me run by this one. I had this. Name emerges of Feinstein staffer thought to have leaked Kavanaugh allegations. Insider says, here's a much better picture, but I will just go with this real quick. A staff member, this is Ryan Silveri, I guess, I don't know, from the Daily Wire. A staff member for Dianne Feinstein, Democrat of California. Okay. Why did it give me a commercial? These websites. A staff member for Dianne Feinstein, California, is thought to have been the responsible for leaking Christine Blasey Ford's allegations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, according to the Washington Insider. So I brought that up earlier today, and it's unethical. Wonder if there'll be any kind of recommendation for her resignation or any kind of prosecution for her. I'm your host, BKP. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show. Brian Kemp will be at River Street Tavern here in Ellijay. He'll be at River Street Tavern here in Ellijay in just at 2 o'clock today. At noon today, he will be in Fannin County at a fundraiser. At 10 a.m. this morning, he will be down here at Appalachian Gun and Pawn and Pickens County. So you can come out at any time and see the Republican candidate for governor, Brian Kemp, this Sunday. This is interesting. We'll talk about this tomorrow. This Sunday at the Gilmer Arts Playhouse over here. The Gilmer Arts Playhouse Theater will be Sarah Amica Riggs. She is the candidate for lieutenant governor. Okay? She'll be over here Sunday along with Josh McCall and Rick Day. The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming. They're coming to Gilmer County. And Sarah Riggs Amico is running for lieutenant governor for the Democrat. There's a reason she's coming to North Georgia. I better wait till next Monday, to give you the actual reason she's coming to North Georgia and not Stacey Abrams. You take this week and see if you can figure it out. And if you can, let me know, okay? So she is coming. Newt Gingrich writes, blue wave of liberal cash from California and New York flooding Georgia governor's race. Stacey Abrams had... what about that? Did anybody... Josh, did you hear about the Georgia DNC trolling Brian Kemp with the plane at the Georgia game?
No, I didn't.
All right, about the time Brian Kemp held a tailgate party. Brian Kemp held a Georgia Bulldog tailgate party, okay? And about the time he was starting to speak over in Athens, and it was all juice boxes, folks. They have taken the kegs away. They've taken the beer. You can't bring coolers. Nothing anymore. It's straight juice boxes. But anyhow, juice boxes and pimento cheese sandwiches. That's it. So anyhow, the plane is flying over. About the time he starts, and there's a big banner across it, pulling a big banner in the air saying, Brian Kemp is a Tennessee Vol fan. So they were trolling him, and they even went on and put the Brian Kemp and put Brian Kemp in. They didn't have nothing else to do, so they put him in Tennessee attire to spoof him at the game. I'm your host, BKP. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Now, tonight at 6:30, Union Panther playback on Team FYN Sports live tonight. Look for that. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Find us, Team FYN Sports, FetcherNews.com, and FYN TV. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to be out of here. And at the top of the hour, Dave Garner in Instant Replay.